Welcome to this explainer where we're going to walk through the essentials of facilities and equipment under good distribution practice, or GDP. Getting these rules right is really the foundation for making sure medicinal products are stored and distributed safely. So here's how we're going to tackle this. We'll break it down into 6 clear sections. And to really make these principles stick, we're going to follow a fictional company. We'll call them Apex Distributors, as they build a totally compliant facility right from scratch. Okay, let's get right into it with our case study, Apex Distributors. By following their journey, we're going to see exactly how these regulations play out in the real world. Apex's mission is crystal clear, and honestly, it's critical. This isn't just about putting up a warehouse. It's about creating a perfectly controlled environment that protects the quality of the product and ultimately patient safety. Every single decision they make has to circle back to this goal. All right, so now let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the actual foundations of the facility. What are the absolute non-negotiables for the building and the equipment inside it? You see, these requirements show you that we're talking about so much more than just a building. It has to be a secure, clean, and precisely controlled space. Every little detail, from pest control all the way to the lighting, is designed to protect the product. Access has to be locked down to authorized people only. It's basically a fortress of quality. And right away, Apex runs into a really common but absolutely critical choice. They need cold chain storage. And hey, a cheap domestic fridge just became available. But you have to ask, in the world of GDP, is cheap ever really a good idea? And the answer is a hard no. A domestic fridge just isn't built for this. It doesn't have the precise temperature control, it can't recover its temperature quickly after the door is opened, and it has no security. So choosing that pharmacy-grade unit, that's completely non-negotiable. Control has to start the absolute second a delivery truck pulls up. So let's take a look at how Apex should design their inbound workflow to nail this first critical point of contact. This workflow is a perfect example of getting ahead of the problem. From something as simple as a canopy to keep the rain off, to immediately checking and separating products, every single step is designed to prevent issues before they even start. In this game, delay is the enemy, speed and accuracy are everything. And a huge part of that inbound process is quarantine. Think of it like a secure holding pen for the facility. It's physically and systematically cut off from the sellable stock, making sure that anything questionable is completely locked down until a proper decision is made. It's a critical firewall in the supply chain. Okay, so once the products are inside and they've been accepted, the challenge shifts. Now it's all about maintaining that perfect environment over the long haul and making sure the stock is managed efficiently and, of course, safely. Now, this is a really important evolution in best practice. The industry has moved on from FIFO, or first in, first out, to FIFO, first expired, first out. It sounds like a small change, but it's a powerful shift in thinking. Apex absolutely must have a system that prioritizes expiry dates over arrival dates. It minimizes waste and protects patient safety. And here's another one of those real-world situations Apex has to be ready for. It's so tempting to use every single inch of space, right? Especially when we're talking about expensive cold storage. But what happens when full turns into overcrowded? This isn't just about being tidy. It's a direct threat to the product itself. Overcrowding blocks air from circulating, and that can cause temperature swings that might render medicine useless or even harmful. So proper capacity management is a core part of GDP. So how can Apex actually prove with cold, hard data that their storage areas are up to snuff? It's not enough to just assume they are. They have to validate their systems. Well, they do it through a process called temperature mapping. It's basically a systematic study to understand the temperature personality of a space. By figuring out where the hot spots and cold spots are, you can prove the whole area is safe for storage, and you'll know exactly where to put your permanent monitors. And temperature mapping is a rigorous, repeatable process. Apex has to plan it based on risk, run the tests when the space is both empty and full, and then analyze all that data to figure out where to put permanent monitors. And crucially, this is not a one-and-done event. So that leads to a great question. What happens when something changes? I mean, even something that seems totally minor, that's happening outside the building itself. This is a perfect example of why you've got to stay vigilant. The removal of those bushes could totally change the temperature inside. Apex needs to spot this risk. Maybe you put some reflective film on the window, and this is the most important part, they have to repeat the temperature mapping to prove the environment is back under control. So, by carefully thinking through the building, choosing the right equipment, and designing rock solid processes for every stage, Apex distributors have successfully built a facility that's ready for business.
This checklist really sums up their entire journey. From physical security to process validation, they've systematically ticked every box for Chapter 3. They haven't just built a warehouse, they've built a quality-driven system designed to protect the integrity of every single product that comes through their doors.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most crucial point. Building a compliant facility is a massive achievement for sure, but the real work is what happens next. Compliance isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a continuous process of monitoring, maintaining, and adapting. That sustained vigilance is what truly keeps patients safe.